All right, our first order of business is candidate nominations and endorsements. We'll go in order on these guys. I'll give you just a second. Let's pull to our page. Okay, so our first position that we will look for nominations for is governor. Are there any nominations for governor?
I'd like to nominate Alan. Just drew a blank on your last name, Alan. So silly. For governor.
I'm gonna run for U.S. Senate.
Okay, I rescind that. You want to run? I tried.
You tried. We're just going to go one by one, every single person.
I've been in touch with an election attorney who would like for us to be able to go to court to fight for ballot access, but I've been advised that it's very hard for us to get in front of a judge if we don't have a prospective candidate for the races in which we are arguing we should have ballot access. And so for governor or lieutenant governor, we would need somebody to try to run for that if we were wanting to take them to court for ballot access. There's no guarantee that you will win that case and actually be on the ballot, but we would need somebody to do that. And so anybody who's maybe been thinking about running for something, maybe think about running for governor or lieutenant governor just so we can have somebody's name in the lawsuit. And if you want to know lawsuits and us winning them, talk to Martin Callan. He's sued the state. He's won and lost an appeal, but he won the original one. So, yeah.
I just want to clarify something. I believe what you're referring to, that lawsuit, is dealing with the leadership committees for governor and lieutenant governor. For ballot access, it could be any state offices.
Correct. Sorry, statewide offices. That's what I did say. To say, I will run for this. I want to be the leader.
Any other?
I nominate Chase Oliver for governor.
There's a nomination for Chase Oliver for governor.
Here's the thing, guys. I would love to do it, but technically you cannot have two FEC accounts open at one time. I'm still paying down personally some of the campaign debt that I incurred running for president. And so I don't believe I can, in order, do this.
Joke's on you, it's not FEC.
Yeah,
Assuming I am legally able to do that, I will be a paper candidate for governor. I'll put my name in a lawsuit. Yeah, look at y'all. You'll just bully me to doing it. I accept the nomination.
The nomination is accepted. Mr. Mosley, did you have someone?
No.
Not anymore.
I was testing you, Jared.
Okay, just testing. Making sure my eyes are working. I will be honest, I can't recognize anybody probably past like the 7th row. So, yeah, you're all blurred back there. All right. We will close nominations.
For what?
For governor. Now we allow 15 minutes for a nominating speech. It can be yielded to anyone else as well.
I can make it short and sweet. We need to have more options on our ballot than just a Democrat and Republican in the state of Georgia. The last candidates that we've had for governor in the state of Georgia was a big tax and spend Democrat on the left and a Republican on the right who talks a big game but never really follows through the way he wants to. I want to eliminate the income tax in the state of Georgia. And so I would urge you, if you want to have somebody who's going to be running on the ballot that says eliminate the state income tax in the state of Georgia, fight against federal intrusions against things like ICE in our state, and say hell no to the federal government in the Peach State, I urge you to support me for governor. Thank you very much.
Short and sweet.
My boyfriend's gonna hate me.
All right, we'll move next to Lieutenant Governor.
There's more nominations from the floor. I'd like to nominate Noda for governor.
Nota's always on.
No, he's always on.
Still formal.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, what I'm gonna do for this, usually we do ballots because Nota's on it, but what I'll do is a hand raise, if that's all right with everybody? Cool. So, what we're gonna do is put the, it's kind of tough, isn't it? Should we do a ballot? Because a yes, no vote is not really.
Not really a secret ballot.
It's not
yes,
really.
no vote.
I won by acclamation.
Does anyone want to speak for Noda? No, no speakers for Noda. How does the floor feel on time?
Give it to Chase.
Can I make a motion to suspend the rules that are preventing us from just putting Chase through?
I think so. Yeah. There's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules.
Second.
And allow for an up-down vote. This is just on suspending the rules.
Point of parliamentary inquiry, what do the bylaws say though?
So the bylaws say the officers and at-large members of the executive committee shall be chosen. Officers and at-large. Yeah. The parties nominated for public office shall be chosen by 2/3 vote. If no candidate has attained a majority after 2 votes, the candidate with less than 10% shall be struck from the subsequent ballots. If no candidate has attained a majority after 4 votes, the candidate with the least votes shall be struck from subsequent ballots.
It doesn't say whether it has to be a paper ballot.
It does not. So it's, shall be chosen by a 2/3 vote, but with that, the technical proper way would be balloting. It's kind of assumed because of the way that it would go on this, because you can't really just do an up-down vote on that. So we're assuming.
I'll reword my motion. I'd like to move that we suspend the necessity for a paper ballot in this specific instance.
There we go. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules to allow an up-down vote, we'll say, on just the governor spot. Those in favor of suspending the rules indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
All right, the ayes have it, the motion carries. We will move now to an up-down vote. I'm gonna have you raise your hands this time, just for the sake of that. Those in favor of nominating Chase Oliver for governor indicate so by raising your hands. Okay, those opposed? All right, the ayes have it, the motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
We have a nomination for governor. Thank you. All right, now we'll go to lieutenant governor. Got ahead of myself. Are there any nominations for that?
First Lieutenant Governor,
Yes.
I nominate Shane Hazel for Lieutenant Governor.
I'll second, even though he's not here.
Nominated and seconded.
He has to accept, right?
He has to be here to accept.
This is just endorsement. Technically.
Technically, a nominee has to accept.
This is like our payroll.
So all we could do would be endorse with this vote. We could-
Yeah,
Somebody
somebody
can
call
get
him.
a hold of him.
If somebody get him on the phone and he can say, I accept it, that would be doable.
Is anybody calling in? Cause I have a nomination.
Yes.
He's got me blocked.
My name is Colin McKinney. I'm with the Greater Athens Libertarian Party, and it would be my honor to nominate Katie Gordon, who is one of our members for the past several years. She really knows her stuff. She is a compassionate person, and I would be honored to see her name on the ballot and to vote for her.
Would you like to accept that?
I accept the nomination.
There you go.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Shane Hazel would not accept that nomination. Just on vibes.
I was gonna inquire if you were still an active member as well. Do we have information on that?
I would have to check, but I would not even check until I knew that he had actually accepted the nomination.
Yeah. He has been asked for something and has said hi. So, I think we're safe to say. We'll close nominations now, and we will, do the same here. There's one nomination, and NOTA is always on the ballot. I will entertain that same motion.
I'll make the motion to suspend the necessity of a paper ballot as it pertains to nominating a candidate for lieutenant governor.
All right, the motion is the same as the last one. For an up-down vote, first we'll vote to suspend the rules, then we will vote for the candidate. All right, are you ready for the question? Those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the ayes have it, the motion carries. We are now to an up-down vote here. All right, those in favor of Katie Gordon as the Lieutenant Governor nominee, please indicate so by raising your hands. All right, Dr. Mower. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and we have a nominee for Lieutenant Governor. All right, now we move to, actually, do you want to give a speech? I was about to just look past it. Do you want to?
Would you like to give us a speech?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so a lot like Chase, yes, we need to have libertarians on the ballot, right? That's exciting. I believe in liberty. I'm very much a strong libertarian and I care about our rights. Keeping it short and simple.
Thank you.
All right, I will now move us to United States Senate. We have one of those open.
I nominate Alan Buckley.
I'll second that.
Would you like to accept that? All right, anyone else? All right, we have one nomination. Would you like to give a speech.
Yeah, I would. I'll keep it as short as I can. I can just speak from down here. I passed out this flyer. I was first the party's candidate in 2004, got about 2%. Then 2008, got 3.4. The vote totals keep going up and, oh, thanks. Okay, I really think if we can get on the ballot and just get any sort of decent money, I think I can really do really well this time. Because the message I've been sending since 2004 is coming to fruition now. If you've read this little handout I handed out along with Mark Mosley, it sort of says my background and where I come from. But I note in here in 2004, the debt to GDP ratio was 60. Now it's 124. Well, when I was in college in 1980, it was 30. So it went from 30 to 60. Well, guess what? That's all the baby boomers. And there's some older people in here. I'm 65. There's some older people in here. And, this is a mess that's been created by the baby boomers, frankly. And you two guys in particular. But you know what? I have a lot of older friends, and a lot of them are good Americans, and they will say, we created this mess, and we need to do something to fix it. That's not your average Joe or your average Jane. They're all about themselves. And don't touch my Social Security, don't touch my Medicare, don't touch any of my stuff. But the reality is, to make this work, we've got to make significant changes. So you notice on the sheet that I handed out, I listed 10 areas of emphasis. But what you don't know, that I'm going to point out to you now, is over all these years, what I do in my free time. I noticed, so I mentioned a yard sign there. I've got about 2,000 of these in my basement. So if I can get on the ballot, these are going out in areas where wealthy and intelligent people live, because they know this is the biggest problem we've got, okay? And it is. But let me just point out to you, though, in my free time, to show you what kind of a loser I am, I actually sit around and draft legislation to deal with these problems, okay? And if you go through these 10 points I've listed, for the first one, fixing the finances, I've drafted the Financial Sanity Act of 2027, which I've worked on over the years, starting in 2019. It's 19 pages long. It's got 23 points. It doesn't impact people currently on Social Security except reducing their COLA, their cost of living adjustment. But it does change Social Security drastically going forward, so it's not such a leech on our society. And it changes Medicare as well going forward, so it's not such a leech on society. It creates competition in healthcare, and that's our main problem. There's two ways to get healthcare costs down. You can either go in and have this single payer system where you get this, whatever I say, you get this, and you come in and kiss my butt to get whatever you want, or you go to competition, and you have to reduce the significance of the third party in healthcare. And so that's what my proposal does, in the form of a 19-page bill. Well, I also have a bill to deal with all the other entitlements. This is Medicare and Social Security, but all the other ones. I've studied the problems. We encourage single parenthood. We encourage single moms to have more kids and stay single. Because if they get married, it's an economic loser to them. And I've got all the numbers on Excel spreadsheets to prove this. And we also discourage work. In 2014, I co-wrote a book with a PhD in finance about why work, how the federal entitlements and tax credits equalize income and wealth. So you've got a huge group of people who are making less than, depending on whether they're married or not, a certain middle class amount that no matter what you do, you end up in the same place. And that's a lot of the goal of the Democrats, and the Republicans don't do anything about it. So, and they don't even care. So, but in any event, I've got a bill, and you're welcome to view any of these. Just send me an email, and I'll give you my email address now or afterwards. But that's the Sanity Act of 2027. The Child Advancement and Digital Elimination Act, that's to deal with all the other entitlements and credits, tax credits. Refundable tax credit is just giving money to people, just so you know. It doesn't reduce their tax liability. And then I've got a tax proposal that I worked on over 3 years. And I do a lot of tax for a living, and I know how screwed up the system is. We have 2 income taxes. There's no connection to spending. So over 3 years, I came up with this proposal. I initially sent this article of Tax Notes. That's kind of a tax magazine for professionals. They said they were going to publish it, then they stopped. They said they weren't going to, and I kept working on it, which was a good thing. The first draft was gravely inferior to the final product 3 years later. But anyways, I've got this class action against the federal government, against the IRS indirectly, that's been going on through various cases through 15 years. It's just an abuse of power by the IRS, creating a licensing system in itself over the tax return preparation industry, charging annual fees. I've been fighting it in federal court in DC for 15 years, literally, when I first started. And, but in the process, we won at the district court up in DC. So the guy from Tax Notes wanted me to talk to him about the case. And I said, you know what? I have this article that I'd really like to get published. And I said, I'll talk to you if you'll publish this article. He said, call me back 30 minutes later, we'll publish it. So anyway, but this article, I lay out all the potential tax systems that could replace our current system. And I point out all the flaws in our current system. And then at the end, I come up with a recommendation. Well, I've got one long paragraph that explains a better tax system than our current system, okay? Because our current system has just got too many problems. In any event, I'm not saying any of this to brag, but I've drafted bills to deal with the illegal immigration problem. Some people might call it amnesty, but it's not amnesty. The people who are here, there's a reasonable penalty. As long as you've got a clean record, you can stay. Again, there's a bill for it. I've got a bill, the Balance of Powers Restoration Act, to get the presidency under control and the executive branch under control, to basically say, if you do something and Congress didn't authorize it, it's a nothing, okay? And I've drafted a bill to deal with changing the gas tax to more of an energy tax based on how dirty or clean the fuel is. In any event, what I'm saying is, these aren't, when I've run in the past, I've generally just had ideas. I've got actually bills that I can put out on a website and show that I'm offering solutions to these problems. Who am I going to go up against if I can get on the ballot? I need help with that from anybody and everybody. John Ossoff, who's not going to say anything about any of this stuff, okay? And then there's going to be a MAGA Republican who's going to be just a Trump, you know what? And they're not going to go near these issues. But these smart people out there, who a lot of them are wealthy, are going to say, look, what Buckley's talking about is what we want handled. We don't want to keep skirting around this, because the only way out of this now is you're going to have some kind of a write-down, okay? Because we're spending more in interest than we are on our military. And this percentage is supposed to go to 1.7. In the next 9 years, the ratio, interest spending to our military, that's per the CBO, okay? Now, Trump will want to spend a lot more on the military so we can go attack a bunch of other countries to make the ratio lower. But no matter how you look at it, it's a disaster financially, okay? So my point is, you can tell I've got a lot of passion about this, but I have solutions to these problems that if I can put together a website, we can get the ballot access, we can make a tremendous amount of progress, mainly on the financial issues. But again, I'm going to cover all these major issues. So I'm going to wrap this up here, but I want to say this, okay? If you look back at our history, going back about 100 years, but on average, every 10 years, something really bad happens, okay? Whether it's World War II, the Great Depression, we had the recession in 2008, we had the pandemic of 2020, it's almost, in 2020, Peter Daszak, who is the government's main, I don't know if he's with the government, but he's the guru on the pandemic, says, this was 2020, I'm not holding my bunker right now, we're gonna be hit by a much bigger one sometime in the next 10 years. What happens if and when that happens? And Ray Dalio, some of you may know, is an expert on this area. He predicts in 2028 there's going to be a debt crisis that's going to be disastrous. That's 2 years from now. Whether he's right or not, no one can tell. But he's a genius in this area. But my point is, what's going to happen is they're going to try to tell everybody, stay home, and we're going to just cut you checks. We're going to borrow another 10 trillion. And they borrowed under $5 trillion on this big, beautiful act. There's one line and one sentence in the middle of the bill that says the debt limit is increased by $5 trillion. But the markets aren't going to accept it at this point, because once the debt to GDP gets up to a certain point, the markets are going to start vomiting. And if the interest rates demanded are 5, 6, 7%, the market is gonna go like this. And all these seniors who have $50,000 to $500,000 saved outside of Social Security are gonna stop spending. You're gonna go into a recession. And the markets are gonna go down further. It's gonna be like a toilet. You see the water going down your toilet? It's gonna go like that. That's probable within the next few years, okay? So what I'm saying to you is, I'm gonna have a John Ossoff who's not gonna even know what I'm talking about on these issues, okay? Or he may, he's no dummy, he's just not in tune with these types of issues, he's a standard Democrat. And a Republican who's just gonna be right up Trump's alley, not mention any of this stuff, because Trump is all about today and him and his ego, and we all know it. And that's it. If you wanna help me, I'd appreciate it. We gotta get ballot access, that's the first thing. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, if you want to do that.
We did have a few additional people credential in since I gave the last credentials report. So we are now at 52 delegates and 1 alternate. And since we had 0 alternates at the beginning of the day, we did not make our typical motion of waiving the seasoning requirement. But Mr. Chair, if you would allow it, I will move to waive the seasoning requirement.
Point of information, please. Who are we waiving it for?
Mr. Hiram Hawk.
I'm good, I'm fine.
Is it all right if I introduce myself? My name is Hiram Houck. I'm new to Georgia, for the most part. I spent the first 57 years of my life in the People's Socialist Republic of California, one of the reasons why I'm now living here. I was a civil engineer in California. I'm still licensed there, and I've been following politics for a long time. I've seen every John Stossel video that he ever made. My philosophy to government is the same philosophy to weight loss. If you want to lose weight, you can do 2 things. You could exercise more or eat less. Well, if you remember Michael Phelps from the Olympics, he used to eat 8,000 calories a day, and he would swim maybe about 8 or 9 hours a day, which is a lot of exercise. Most of us can't exercise that much, so the only alternative is for us to just eat less. That's the only way we can lose weight. Now, if you equate eating less with bringing in revenue, and you equate exercising with spending money, or with, exercising would be with bringing in revenue, and eating less would be with cutting your spending, then the only way we can get our debt in check, which right now it's astronomical, and we're hitting the way of the Roman Empire. There will not be a United States of America if we don't get that debt under control. We're heading to there right now. If you ask somebody, yeah.
This was just an introduction. Just wait.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
An amazing speech.
Well, I agree with the gentleman here. I listened to his speech. He and I are much in sync about many things. He's got a lot of legislative skills, and I think he could be a big benefit.
I call for orders of the day.
Okay, with orders of the day, we were, I'm gonna have to take it back from you. What we're gonna do is we're going to, we're on the, quick, really, it's just a, all it is introduction to,
Well, can I tell them a little bit more about myself?
we're just, yes, the motion's already. Motion's already out. So we have to dispose of the motion first. Okay. The motion on the table is to waive the seasoning requirement, to let everyone be a delegate. Special rules? Special rules. Okay. So all we'll do is we'll do a 2/3 vote. Those in favor?
I'm raising my hand to discuss the motion.
It's a suspension of the rules, so I think it's not debatable. So those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. The motion carries, and everybody is a delegate now. Now I will open it up for the nomination, if you'd like to nominate yourself. Okay. Is there a second? Nominated and seconded. You can come up.
Point of information, what is the time limit on the?
10 minutes.
What was the nomination for, please?
Senate.
Anyway, I've done a lot of traveling since I retired about 5 years ago. I've been to China, Japan, Hong Kong, Macau, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, quite most of Europe. And I've had a chance to observe the governments. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something. When I was in Greece in May of 2025, I had a kidney stone and I got very sick. So I had to go to the hospital while I was on a tour and I was doing my vacation. But I found out that I went to the hospital, they did a CAT scan on me, they did all kinds of work, and I kind of explained to my doctors here how much work they did to me to find out that I had a kidney stone. They even gave me medicine to remove the kidney stone. I asked him, how much would it have cost if I had done it at Piedmont here in Georgia? He said the work that I had done there would have cost around a little over $5,000. In Greece, I had all that work done, it cost me 420 euros, which at the time was about 460 US dollars. And I said, there's something wrong with our healthcare systems. If I can go to these other countries and get this done, why is it costing so much for me to do it here? What's going on here? My belief is that it's health insurance. What happened is when I was born, my parents went to the hospital. They paid about $500 at the time. It was 1962, and that's it. They just paid the bill. Today, a woman gets pregnant, goes to the hospital. I don't know what it would cost. It probably goes into the thousands of dollars. But at that time, people didn't have health insurance. Health insurance was started during World War II because businesses needed a way to get people to work for them because the government put a freeze on hiring because they wanted people working in the defense industry at the time, and they didn't want these companies paying more money because at that time, in World War II, there was a labor shortage, totally the opposite of the Depression. So companies, in order to get people to come work for them, they had to say, okay, well, they couldn't pay them more because the government put a cap on how much you could pay people. What they did do is they said, we'll offer you free health care. And that's how health insurance got started. And now it's becoming this big demon to where everybody has to have health insurance. And they have what they call a premium. Let's say for example, I walk into a hospital and I don't have health insurance. I have to pay a premium over what somebody with health insurance would pay because health insurance companies require hospitals to give them a lower rate than what you would pay normally. They want a discount. They demand that. So those people who don't have health insurance are going to end up getting screwed over. So they're basically bringing in a third party, a middleman, that's causing our health insurance rates to go up. And that's why you'll get a health bill and you'll get like $100 for a bandage or something like that. So some ridiculous amounts. It's like, imagine if we had grocery insurance and instead of going to the store and buying groceries, we just got insurance and just got whatever we wanted. None of us would care what those groceries cost. The same thing with health insurance. I basically go in there. I belong to Kaiser Permanente. I get these statements of showing how much it costs for me to get this done or that done or whatever. I don't really care. I just pay the same no matter what. And that's the problem with insurance. It's basically corrupting this country and destroying this country. And what we've got to do is the health insurance industry has a strong lobby in Washington. and they've got to be, put in a check. They've got to basically say, hey, I think hospitals should charge the same no matter whether they have insurance or not. They should not give health insurance companies a discount. If we do that, then hospitals can charge what they used to charge, or medical coverage. They basically charge whatever it costs them plus a 10% profit, which is reasonable. They're entitled to make a profit. But they kept costs in check. And that's one of the things we need to get away from. That'll help the health insurance problem. The other thing too, of course, we talked about this earlier in this room, is about the military. And Eisenhower warned during his farewell address about the military-industrial complex taking over this country. And that's kind of what's been happening, is that all these senators, like Lindsey Graham, for example, is heavily subsidized, is heavily funded by the military-industrial complex. When he went on the air, I saw him on Fox, begging and pleading for money. We need money because the Californian Democrats are putting money into my opponent, and that's wrong. He's basically setting himself up to be in allegiance with these people who are donating to his campaign, and he's kind of known for being a hawk, and he's getting heavily funded by the military-industrial complex. If you guys ever list, I encourage you to do this when you get a chance. Go on the internet and find out how much the country spend on the military. And you look at, obviously the United States is number one. We spend more than any other country with a number in the number one slot, but you don't know by how much. If you take number two, which is China, and go all the way down to number 6 and add them all together, they're still less than what we spend on the military. We don't exceed number 2 by a little bit. We exceed number 2 by a lot. And this is all because of our foreign policy and the wasteful spending in the military. For example, in Afghanistan, they left millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment behind. Nobody seemed to care. And these military companies come in here like General Dynamics, Lockheed, and Boeing. They go in there, they just basically soak the taxpayers, and nobody in Congress is paying attention to that. They're just basically going in there saying, we need this much for the military. Say, oh, that's great, we need to defend our country. This is something that needs to be done. So they just go ahead and do that, because if you don't, you're considered a traitor. It's our country is worth defending, but it's not about defense anymore, it's about offense. The last time this country was attacked by a foreign power was in 1941 in Pearl Harbor. We have not been attacked since. But why are we spending so much money on defense? Nobody is going to attack this country. As far as like with the Cuban Missile Crisis, some of you said, what if somebody wanted to build missiles in Cuba? That's what happened during the Cuban Missile Crisis. But the reason the Soviet Union did that was because we had missiles in Turkey. Especially if we're going to be the aggressor, if we're going to be defending other countries like Israel, South Korea, and Taiwan, people are going to take offense at that, because none of those countries, Israel, South Korea, and Taiwan, are not territories of the United States. We have no business defending them. We should let things go as they may. One of the things is if we build a trading partnership with countries like China and not have all these high tariffs, which is hurting. I mean, I remember one of the things we used to joke about at work is you look at tape pictures and all kinds of stuff, and it all said made in China at the bottom. A lot of our stuff is made there. That's because China has cheap labor. They've got 4 times more people than we have, so they can get things done a lot more cheaper than we can. The one thing that they don't have, I got a chance to observe this, is they don't have a minimum wage there. And I asked my wife one time, she's from there. She said, I said, that's horrible that you don't have a minimum wage. These workers are going to get cheated. She said, well, if they do that, no one will come. For example, if I had a job right now, if we didn't have a minimum wage here, and I wanted to get somebody to work at my restaurant, and I had a restaurant, I said, I'm going to pay you, I guess if you have tips, you have $2 an hour, and people make their money up on tips. But let's say that tipping weren't allowed. Like in China, they don't tip there. You just, whatever's on the menu, whatever the price is on the menu, that's what you pay out the door, including tip and tax. If you pay somebody a low enough wage, they won't come. They won't work there. And that's the way it should be. That's what a free market truly is. California, as many of you probably have read in the newspaper, is going through a very big crisis right now because Governor Newsom raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour for fast food employees. What's the result of that? Instead of getting people more money, because those fast food workers deserve to get more money. What's happening is a lot of them are losing their jobs. The companies just can't afford to pay them that much. They're closing down restaurants. It's becoming a disaster. We should not tell a a company how much money they should pay their employees, what the minimum amount should be. We should just let them decide, and let the employee decide whether or not they want to work there. One of the big concerns about Walmart, for example, is that, hey, they need to pay their people more money. You know, if you have a problem with that, if you have a problem with Walmart paying their people too little money, you don't need to shop there. You have a choice not to do that. There's other places you can go. But almost all, I don't know about you, but I shop at Walmart all the time. I like the idea of a bargain. Most people do. And the only way Walmart can do that is by paying their employees a lower wage. And the employees, like I said, have a choice to work there or not work there. But if they don't work there, at least they have a choice. The thing is, also on the federal level, are all these social programs. Like I said, I've had a chance to observe other countries. I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And the way other countries do it, like China, for example, I'll use him, because I'm pretty familiar with that, is if you're poor, like Octomom, I don't know if you guys remember her. She was a lady who had 8 children with 8 different men. She was not married to any of them, and she was making more money than most of us were just from welfare because of her 8 children. Somebody like that would not be in that situation in China. You go out and do something like that, people just live in shelters. They put them in like homeless shelters. They take care of them that way. And that's one of the problems we're having. And it's not just the money that we're spending on these people, it's what it's doing to them. It's becoming a culture. It's becoming even Bill Clinton said back in the 90s that welfare should be a way to get somebody out of hard times, not become a way of life. And these are some of the things that I would stand for in the Senate is basically this, not getting the government to just make cuts in the way they define cuts. Like instead of having a 10% increase in their budget each year, actually start selling some of our federal land, start selling some of the stuff that we have, that we can kind of get that debt down. If we don't, there won't be a United States. It's all that we're doing right now, that we won't be a country. It'll just be anarchy. Thank you.
All right, we have 2 nominations for Senate. Are there any further nominations? Okay, we will close the nominations. There are 2 on the ballot. NODA is always on the ballot. So we're going to do a ballot for this, and we will distribute those. And we'll pass these out. If you're not a delegate, please don't take a ballot, and please don't give us extra ballots. So, thanks.
We have a bunch of things.
You know he wasn't prepared, look at the screen.
That's as far back they can pull it and take I don't know. I feel like you can get a we got it people back here. Where are we? The rest of this
This way.
Because we don't have ballots.
So you've got
we waited to see
Does anybody else not have a ballot? I don't. He's passing the ballot.
Oh, okay. Passing your things
Again, for everybody, the 2 on the ballot are Alan Buckley and Hiram Houck. 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 I think so.
Yes.
No, yeah, just without the speed.
I got one more, anybody need that?
You're a pen master. You control the ink.
What? Your pen?
I'm good, thank you.
You get snatched? Charged?
I don't imagine.
Anybody else? He is actively voting. Yeah, you have to take the vote. Well, you can't make the motion, the only motion you can make right now is to suspend the Then you'd have to move forward.
We have started collecting
All right, here collecting ballots. If you have not filled it out, you don't have a pen, anything, do it. And, come around here shortly.
Does anyone else have the ballot that has not been collected?
Point of information. During the collection and tallying of the ballots, can we move on to the next nomination?
I haven't been told that I needed to. I'm gonna go double check that. Thank you. But if there is any need to speak on your behalf, I'm happy to do that on your behalf because I would love to say we've had some days in the past where we've to see that now special election.
statewide candidate, you're our top ticket candidate. You're the largest, most high profile until after the election, in which case, whoever is in November. But as of now, you are our most high profile.
Because my election is imminent.
Yes, imminent and for a very high profile seat.
I mean, honestly, if I were to, I mean, that would be the highest office that a libertarian has been elected to. Because we've had some returned libertarian in office, but never.
And so, and I think there's real possibility for us to make real things in the district because there's no market for things.
I mean, seriously, the whole thing about the threats to her children and stuff, that's it's like, she and I have not seen eye to eye on several things, but, you know.
And here's the thing I will say, preface that to say, there are many things myself and others do not agree on. One thing we do agree on is policing the activities of being and not being afraid to challenge residents when they have something to
This is a very high holding topic.
you say that afterwards. I absolutely police apologize and violence. It's a shame your own party just because you said that.
That is the important act. Getting the body and nothing.
It's like a 90% challenge. Yes or no right now. You gotta say like yes or no right now.
Yes. He hesitated.
He hesitated. You need to say that. You get a chance. Press one. Ask questions to the other candidates. Ask your opponent. Point blank. If you stand up to Donald Trump and say release all the essay files unredacted, yes or no, answer.
Also, I really like that talking about what you had against Warnock about reading bills. It's like that's going to be a big thing for me.
Well,
because I don't think
you're not running against anybody who's actually serving Congress. All of you can say, of course I'll do.
Well, I could ask Colton Moore. He's been serving and not.
You're right. It's the nominee. Right. See, it's a general thing, right? It's like everybody. So you get an asshole. And you read all the bills.
Exactly. Because I read 50 books a year on average. I think I can manage to read bills. If they don't give me enough time to read it, then not that I'm voting no on it, because I am not signing a contract on behalf of my constituents without reading it.
Yeah, they say that like you're supposed to give
Hudson Hawk. A car. From the movie Cars.
That's all I have. Hey, Hudson Hawk sounds good.
So now you're not.
I know you're
Hudson Hawk was the best.
I would like to point out that somebody legitimately asked me if I was a racing fan and I enjoyed going to races when I was wearing this. I'm like, well, yes, but this is more but the Piston Cup is not a real racing
Chase all over the presidential candidate this far. No, it's been fun to do, right? Like,
Yeah, no,
No, you gotta come on.
Oh my God.
You're never gonna catch him, but you'll always have to chase him.
I love the thing that LP Georgia put out, when you were running for president, chasing liberty. It's like, that was such a great thought.
Oh my goodness. Counting the votes. Keep counting the votes.
I mean, it works really well.
Hiram Powell received 9 votes and Noda received 3 votes.
Sorry, repeat that, sir?
And how many delegates were there? I thought we were
50.
So we're actually now at 54 and we received 52 ballots.
What was the results? I'm sorry.
40 votes.
Is nominated was 40. Hiram Powell received 9. Noda received 3.
The 9 people voted for that and just 1 went
All right. We will move on to next year.
You're probably one of the people that don't know. Cool guy.
Okay, so now move to the other statewide offices. So, we want to start with Andrew. Next one we'll do is Secretary of State. I will now hear nominations.
I nominate Mr. Ted Metz.
Mr. Ted Metz.
I accept.
Mr. Ted Metz accepts. Awesome. There are other nominations.
Sorry.
What's the answer?
All right, so Secretary of State, nominations are now closed. So, Mr. Metz, would you like to give us a speech?
Thank you very much. Hi, for those who don't know me, I'm Ted Metz. I did run for Secretary of State against Brad last time, and everyone I see wishes they had voted for me. I basically have the same platform as I ran on last time of paper ballots hand marked at the precinct level, hand counted at the precinct, certified duly by the poll officers at the precinct before they go to the county, before they put on the World Wide Web to go through all those different agencies that report to the news. I'm also in favor of restricting absentee ballot. Absentee ballots should be reserved for those who cannot physically make it to the poll. Election season has gotten out of control across the country, as everyone knows. I think a lot of people have the idea that there are some shenanigans that go on in the back end of the election management system because it is manipulatable. I'm not in favor of having the ballot marking devices unless the sole purpose is for someone who is handicapped and needs that sort of an assistive device. Otherwise, they should be marked in pencil or pen, put in the ballot box, counted in public, tallied right there, and there you go. So that's that part. The other thing that we need to know and understand is that under Title 50, which basically tells the elected officials what their purposes and their duties are, Brian, the last secretaries of states have been way outside their authority when coming to dictating how elections are run. Title 21, which is election code, gives the duty of running elections to the county election officials. For the last, my goodness gracious, I guess since 2017 when we had the data breach at Kennesaw State, I have been in this fight to clean up elections. For the last 3.5 years since we found out everything about 2020 and dug deeper and deeper into Title 21 election code, we have found out that yes, indeed, county election officials have all sorts of authorities to run elections the way that they see fit. And any intervention from the Secretary of State's office and their attorneys and all their minions are really null and void from the get-go. But unfortunately, most county attorneys side with the administration, so there's been very little movement on that. So that's my thing about elections. The Secretary of State also has other duties, like making sure that businesses that are registered are legitimate and that they're not like Somali daycare centers. Another thing is making sure that the election code, the requirements of the election code by parties and political bodies are actually fulfilled. We've been filing FOIA requests on an alternative party who I won't name that starts with, the Republican Party of Georgia. They have not filed any of the Title 21-1, 110, and 111 disclosures about their bylaws and who their board members are and who their committee members are since 2014, when they converted from an actual party to a corporation to shield their chair, an executive who was convicted basically and had to pay fines for sexual and racial discrimination. So anyway, that's another story. The other reason I'm running, of course, is to be, have standing to sue. I think if we can't get on the ballot, because we know that overcoming the petitioning hurdle is so high, number one, I would like to use the Georgia Administrative Procedures Act. Basically states that if a state regulation is so burdensome that it cannot be overcome, the court can grant relief and allow you to do whatever it is that you can't make those requirements to do. So I think ballot access may be one of those. If I were elected, or even when I'm campaigning, I would also like to see the ability for people to sign petitions electronically on their My Voter page. You can register to vote online. Why can't you register to petition for a candidate online? This in-person, handwritten, paper ballot crap when everything else is electronic is ridiculous. It's way outdated and needs to change. So unless there's any questions, I will conclude by saying, let's see how we can do this year. Thank you for your vote.
All right, if there are no further nominations, we will close that. Same deal?
Yes.
Same deal. All right, well, if you want to make the motion.
I make the motion to dispense the need for ballot.
All right, we're going to suspend the rules to allow for a simple up-down vote on this.
Rather than an up-down vote, we really should be voting for either our candidate or NODA. I think that would be more technically correct.
We'll take it. We'll take it. All right, we will do a vote for the candidates themselves. So it is either Ted Metz or NODA. So those in favor of Ted Metz for Secretary of State, please raise your hand. You can lower them. Those in favor of NODA. Mr. Metz has it. All right. Tell you what, there's a few more, but are there any people who want to be nominated for statewide, including PSC, Attorney General, anything like that, or anyone who would like to nominate someone?
Are there, how many people do we actually need to satisfy requirements for our lawsuits?
Just one, I think, yeah.
So there's no real impetus to have a full slate.
It's cool. So, yeah, you want to be cool, but Mr. Mosley?
I didn't quite hear Colin's question, but I think it was, is there any advantage to having a full slate of candidates? Is that right, Colin?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, the advantage is to show the world that we're serious about this. We have many, many candidates, and we walk around and we ask for petitions, either as individuals or before some judge in a litigation or before the state legislature, and we have a dozen candidates. That gains us credibility. Okay, just want to make that point. And if I could make one more point about what we're about to do.
Roll out. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, I want to make this point to the body. We have this ballot access issue that I assume that all of you know about. We must have these lower level candidates on the ballot, or at least running. We've always relied on the PSC candidates. Okay, it would really be a messed up situation if we're able to swing the ballot access situation this year. Get Allen on the ballot. So that makes us able to earn our ballot access for the following year through votes for Allen. But we didn't have any PSC candidates to back him up. PSCs are even lower candidates. Okay. Any of the, what I call the commissars. Commissars are education person, Secretary of Labor, Insurance Commissioner, the PSC candidates, and the agriculture candidates. So these are the races that we've always counted on to carry our ballot access. Okay, so it's important that we nominate at least one, and if we can get both PSC districts, we got PSC District 3 up this year. That's Clayton, DeKalb, and Fulton County, and we got PSC 5, which is, I don't know, 15 or more counties on the west side of the state. We really, really, really need somebody to stand up for those races, even if you're clueless. Right, Elizabeth? Do that.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we nominate somebody, that person, through circumstances, can be replaced along the way at some point if need be. But if we don't nominate anybody, we can't put anybody on the ballot. Is that right?
Actually,
yes.
No. If we don't nominate anybody right now, we can nominate. Actually,
we can only endorse afterwards.
So we could nominate if the petitioning requirement changes, but if we don't nominate someone now.
Okay, never mind. I think I was wrong on this. I was thinking about David Radaball in 2022, but we had nominated an agriculture candidate at convention. He dropped out, and David Radaball followed us. Okay, so forget what I just said about that. So yeah, we need to have somebody nominated, at least as a placeholder. But if I mean to say about it, we're going to go further than that. Okay, I'm done.
All right, pressure's on.
Point of information, just not sure that the remaining statewide candidates for offices up for elections here are Attorney General, Agriculture Commissioner, Insurance and Safety Fire Commissioner, Labor Commissioner, State School Superintendent, PSC District 3, and PSC District 5.
The member has spoken, and I'm sure he is 100% correct.
Also, in theory, we could nominate people for U.S. House, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but those aren't state candidates.
So that will be next. Okay. PSC 3 or 5. I will leave it for that.
I would like to nominate another Dan for his appropriate PSC seat.
All right.
I'm in District 4, but I don't know.
Okay, District 4, you gotta be in the district.
Okay, so never mind.
Sorry, next.
Not
year.
this time.
Next
We'll get you
time.
next time.
I could do it. ESC 5.
You could do it, PSC 5.
All right.
Man.
Yes, yeah.
All right, doesn't need a second. We have a nomination for PSC 5, so we'll sit on PSC 5.
I'd like to nominate Mark Mosley for agriculture.
Okay, cool. We will start with PSC and then we'll come back to agriculture. Agriculture, you said?
Yeah.
Yes. Tom, you want to come up and give a speech?
Not really, but. I'm an electrical engineer and living in Cobb, which is in PSC 5. I've always been kind of interested in this sort of thing. I think that we could do a better job than what's in there. And I'd be doing it just to, you know, as Mark said, get more candidates on the ballot. Short and sweet.
All right. For years and years and years and even more years, I've been talking to people about being statewide candidates. And my coaching has always been, it doesn't matter if you're clueless. It doesn't matter if you know what you're doing. And so I myself has never done a statewide race. So I figured this is as good a time as any and learn from experience and just make this thing happen. So I'm telling you in advance, I'm clueless. I have no credentials for this office whatsoever.
I mean, most politicians are clueless.
Other than but I'm going to give it a try, and this is the reason I'm going to do this, because I know from experience I've seen with others of you, some of you in this room. I've seen you come from just like where I am, where you're clueless, to getting really pretty good at this. And I know from my own personal experience, anything that I put myself into, I get really, really good at. And that's my goal. And I'm going to take that experience into the further years, and I'm going to encourage, harass, and bug the rest of you to do the same and follow suit. Follow me? Because I personal belief I've had ever since the 1990s, that if you're going to be involved in this party, all of us should think of ourselves as a candidate. You're actually doing that already. How many of those debates you have between your own ears? Okay. What if you had a soapbox? Okay. The soapbox is right here, on every one of us. We just got to get past our fears. Thank you.
Other nominations, we'll go rapid fire once we have these going.
I nominate Colin McKinney for insurance.
All right, he accepts. All right, insurance commissioner.
Any other nominations? Please. I'm Colin McKinney. I'm from Greater Athens. I've been with you guys since 2020. Most of you have health insurance. I would venture to say most of you are probably unhappy with it. Is that accurate?
Yes.
You pay a premium. You have an expectation that they will cover a list of things. And then when you go to the doctor, you go to your physical therapist, you go to your druggist, all of a sudden they're like, we're not really going to cover that. that needs to change. The insurance companies that work in the state of Georgia need to be held accountable. If they are not going to do the things that they tell you that they're going to do when you sign on the dotted line, you pay your premium, they need to be held accountable for that. I'm a physician, so on my side of things, I see patients that are distraught with their insurance all the time. On my side of things, from a business standpoint, I've got insurance companies that don't want to pay me. There are laws against that, and the insurance companies just flaunt those laws, still refuse to pay. We still go to arbitration, and they still refuse to pay. So they're robbing you, robbing me. That's got to change. So if you like for me to be a paper candidate to help you out with ballot access, I'm your huckleberry.
All right, we have agriculture, PSC 5, and insurance commissioner. He's got it. And the out.
So, Attorney General,
Insurance, ag, and
okay, so PSC 3, State School Superintendent, Labor, and Attorney General.
Mr. Mosley.
A request to the body, is there anybody that would be willing to at least be placeholder for PSC 3? You have to live in DeKalb, Fulton, or Clayton County.
I'm gonna throw down a suggestion.
What kind?
I agree.
I nominate Christine Austin.
Do it.
Yes.
No, I already did mine.
PSC 3.
I did mine. Mark knew that.
Christine, we're not teaming up on you.
Here we
We're
are.
not at all trying to.
We don't want you to feel any pressure, but
All right, I nominate Brian.
Clayton, DeKalb, who lives in those counties?
It's only the people on stage that live in those.
I was about to say.
There it is.
that's,
You have to be at least 30.
it's just another.
Yeah, watch
Oh,
it.
yeah, PSC is sorry.
You have to be 30.
Didn't say, but state superintendent is 25. Read a paper, come on, you do a paper.
Oh,
With the understanding that I'm not actually going to run. Admittedly, Brian is very busy.
Yeah.
I'd recommend.
Speech.
I second Brian
I live in Fulton County. I am over 30 and I have a pulse.
Oh, inspiring.
I've never been more fired up for a candidate.
Come out, still better than that.
No, state superintendent or state school superintendent. That's Attorney General.
He's definitely not doing it. He told me no. Mr. Mosley.
Making everybody aware that almost in this room is qualified for superintendent of education, labor commissioner, and so either of those two commissar races are open to just about anybody. You can be clueless. Anybody that's willing to stand up and do that, I will help coach you through everything. I've done it before with other people. Then I'm gonna be doing it with myself, so. You got my promise if you're willing to stand and do it.
Oh, I hear Ramon is, yeah, I heard you nominate yourself. What?
I did.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn I heard it though.
It's understandable.
All right, we'll close nominations. So we're gonna do it rapid fire. Same way we've done it before. I will allow someone to bring that motion forward.
Make a motion to suspend the need for paper ballots during the following nominations.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. And we are going one by one. We'll just pick races and go. If I miss you, tell me. All right, PSC 5.
Aye.
Those in favor of Tom Blooming, raise your hands. Okay, you can lower your hands. Those in favor of Noda. Mr. Blooming is nominated. Agricultural Commissioner, Mark Mosley. Those in favor of Mark Mosley, raise your hands. Lower them. Those opposed? Just kidding. Those for Noda? All right. Nominated for Agricultural Commissioner.
Thank you.
Insurance Commissioner, Colin McKinney. Those in favor of Colin, raise your hands. All right, lower them. Those in favor of Noda. I wanted to vote with the candidate himself. Nominated. Ah. PSC 3, Brian Allen. Those in favor of Brian? Lower your hands. Those in favor of Noda. Brian.
Are we sure? Has anyone checked?
Show us your
Can we please have He's Got a Pulse t-shirts?
For PSC, he's got a pulse. All right. Did I miss someone? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Can you remind us which offices didn't get nominations?
Attorney General, State School Superintendent, enforcing the Georgia Constitution that education is free for everyone. Who doesn't want to do that as a libertarian?
How many
Labor Commissioner.
Labor Commissioner as well.
I heard a nomination. Yeah. I did too.
Would you say they're
I
Labor
seconded it.
Commissioner?
Yeah,
So did we hear Christine Austin self-nominate?
I did, I heard it.
I heard it.
Yeah. All right, the pressure campaign is off. We're good. I think that's it. Any endorsements? Anybody running for a state house, state senate?
Yes, there's the US House, Georgia Senate, Georgia House, and the county commission.
Anything else? Basically, all the other stuff. We'll let that go right now.
And then it's now senior
And then endorsements for the special elections coming up.
Yeah, we have endorsement for US House.
We need to do
We
a
already
nomination.
endorsed it, right? Yeah, we already.
Do it again.
Yeah, good opportunity to let him.
Mr. Underwood, would you be open to giving a quick introduction to yourself? Would the floor be okay with that?
Yeah.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, floor's yours if you want it. And then if anyone else is thinking about running for a special or anything like that, we can do an endorsement here as well.
For the record, it's Senate District 53, House District 130, and House District 90.
Hello, Andrew Underwood. I plan on running for House District 14 in the U.S. House of Representatives. I was a bit reluctant to take this on, but seeing as I'm doing it, I plan on going all the way. So I'm not just doing this as a paper candidate. I really think there is a chance, even if it's a small one. We have a really crowded field, particularly a bunch of Republicans. I think I've got a decent chance of at least getting into the runoff election. But more importantly, we really need someone in Washington who will stand up and take care of these libertarian values that we really need expressed. It's like we've been seeing huge issues with trying to hide the Epstein list. We've been seeing this administration doing military acts without a congressional declaration of war. That is not the job of the executive branch. The Congress needs to take back its authority. We need to cover our budget. We need to get that under control. There's so much we need to do, and right now we're being bogged down by culture comp issues like should transgender athletes be allowed to compete with cisgender ones. That is not for the federal government to worry about. We have really big, really imminent things to worry about that we need to take care of. And meanwhile, we have these massive omnibus bills that no one reads, and then they pass them. I can right now very easily promise that I will never pass a bill I haven't read. I read on average 50 books a year. I can read bills. It's like, if they don't give me enough time, I'm voting no, because I'm not signing a contract on behalf of my constituents without reading it. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk to you, and I am very happy for the opportunity to represent the Libertarian Party of Georgia, and I really appreciate the help, in particular, of Sergio Ortega and Brian Allen. These guys have been fantastic, and I hope they get a round of applause too.
Point of information, if it hasn't been answered, is Andrew running for both the special election and the regular election?
As of right now, it's just a special election. I don't know that I'm game to run for the general election if not elected for the special election.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yes.
If he does win the special election, would we have to re-nominate him to run for the regular election?
He's an incumbent at that point.
Or would he be?
I think you'd have to endorse.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a
It's
good
two
point.
different elections.
I would suggest that Mr. Underwood is is at all interested in running in November, that he received the nomination for the.
I agree.
I'm moving to nominate Andrew Underwood, the 2026 election for Jordan Sports, in November.
Second.
You're in.
Would you accept it?
You can just drop out if you.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do it, you can always drop out. This is just covering your ass.
Okay.
Make sure that if you want to do it,
All right. My wife tells me I can take it, so I'm gonna do
All right, we'll do the same thing here. Considering this in the same vote as all of the other ones, we're not going to vote on that. Those in favor of Andrew Underwood for U.S. House 14, please raise your hand. Lower your hands. In favor of NODA. We have a nomination for U.S. House 14.
I move to endorse Zane Placey for Fulton County Soil and Water District Supervisor.
I second the motion.
Speech.
You'll get 5 minutes on this because it falls under all other offices, so it's the most obscure one I could find. So Brian and I are both in LP Fulton, and every quarter Brian produces a list of every single office that's up for election anywhere in Fulton County. And a couple months ago, he's like going through this massive list, and he's like, "Oh yeah, and there's the Soil and Water District Supervisor. Haha, isn't that funny?" But it's like, wait a minute, this might actually be a good idea, because I looked into it, and all it takes to get on the ballot for this office is to get 25 signatures and not pay any filing fee. So as long as I can cough up 25 signatures, half of which are hopefully in the room here, I will appear on the ballot for this office, as long as they don't sabotage my paperwork. So you might ask me, what is a Fulton County Soil and Water District Supervisor? And I would tell you that's actually a really difficult question to answer. Because if you go on their website, the website is very sparse, and it's actually rather difficult to figure out what they're up to. There's a link on their website to request the minutes from their previous meetings, but the link's broken. As far as I can tell, the only link on their website that does work is to report erosion control violations. But there is a contact form, so I filled out the contact form and said, please provide me with your previous meeting minutes, and no one got back to me. So it's like Obamacare. You've got to pass Obamacare to find out what's in it. I've got to run for this office to find out what they're doing. So I looked through the election records as far back as I could find it, which is every 2 years, going back to 2018 for this office. And it's never been contested as far back as 2018. So it's either been one person running for one office or two people running for two offices. So this would be like the first time in 10 years that any of them have ever had to actually run against someone. And
he has a pulse.
So
It's a tricky job, but someone's got to do it. What are your qualifications?
I actually dug up their 2025 strategic goals document. I was originally hoping to be able to cut wasteful spending, but the committee itself has a budget of $5,000 annually, which is actually pretty low. But their main job seems to be coordinating grants to everyone else. So it's really like the kingpin of all the money going to other places. So I have to imagine they're up to no good. And just by appearing on the ballot, there is some proportion of the population, because obviously nobody has any clue who any of these people on the ballot are. They just show up there and vote for whoever the person is. But there is some proportion of people that will vote for whoever is not the incumbent. So in 2024, the person who ran for this office received 400,000 votes, which means just by virtue of appearing on the ballot, I actually think I'm locked into at least tens of thousands of votes without campaigning for 1 second. So it's really, I can't lose. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Placey for money launderer in chief.
Point of inquiry, are there other ones that we can get in on? We can capitalize and monopolize the entire soil and water conservation for the state.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Every county.
Point of inquiry, is this a, county offices, sometimes they're partisan, sometimes they're nonpartisan. Is this one partisan or nonpartisan?
It's nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan, okay, so it is an endorsement that you would need, not a nomination.
Yes.
Correct, thank you.
Cool. So we will do the same thing. Those in favor of Zane Placey for Soil and Water Conservation District Supervisor for Fulton County, please raise your hands. All right, we'll
We don't even know if that's a real office. I think it's made up.
those in favor of NODA. Mr. Placey is nominated.
Questions about soil and water and actually upon agreement, I would be happy to help you out.
We're looking at you now.
What? No, I have a degree in geospatial science with an emphasis. So it is basically soil and water.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, are there any other endorsements from the floor? Nominations? Those endorsements. So it's technically not in order, but we're all gonna pretend like we just voted in favor of an endorsement, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
I will endorse saying
All right, if not, that concludes our candidate nominations and endorsements. All right, how's everyone feeling? Do we need a recess, short break, or we get to just keep going?
Keep going.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion, but smooth.
I have a question for Brian, and this is relevant to the whole body. It has to do with the same question, Brian, that I had asked you about Andrew's race and the leveling fund. Have you done any kind of research about how our statewide candidates, will they qualify for a rebate from the Secretary of State as we have had in the past? Or are there complications there? Or do you know?
Complications as to our refunds, there shouldn't be.
You say that again?
There should not be any I verified with the Secretary of State's office that for any special elections where they run as Libertarian, they receive the refund as normal, and there should not be any complication as far as nominating in March for the November elections.
Okay, and even if we're not on the ballot for that race, we're still eligible for the refund is the question.
I will research that further to double check, triple
Yeah,
check.
see, this is not a special election. This is a general election.
So you're talking about the elections in November, right?
Right.
Yeah, there should not be any reason why we would not.
Okay. It would be really cool if we could get some documentation, like some legal opinion like you got from Andrew.
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
We'll get an answer before qualifying.
Yeah, because if we got a lot of money at stake, if we use the level fund. Right?
We can double check that, make sure that everything's.
Okay, thank you.
All right. That concludes that portion. So will entertain a motion for a recess.
I make a motion for a 15-minute recess.
I second.
15 minutes. All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any objection to a recess? It's not debatable. Is there any objection? 15 minutes. Everybody needs to be back in at 3:15.
How hard? I think, I don't know if you got